¿Cómo se llama, papi? Vacate!
Devin Haney has vacated his WBC 140-pound title. Devin Haney is now champion in recess. Alberto Puello is now the champion. The reason to this is because Devin Haney did not want to fight his mandatory and Sandor Martin. Oh my gosh. What a time to be in boxing. Now, as y'all probably already know, okay, I like Devin Haney, okay? But Devin. Hey, why? Why? Like, I believe you can beat Sandor, okay? I believe you can beat Pitbull. I believe you can beat, like, you still had the belt. Look, I don't know if it's some financial issues going on. I don't know if it's like, I don't know what it is. But I wanted Devin to take that. I feel like, bro, I felt like that was cash money for Dev. Good way to come back. You let all the people know that you still like that and whatnot. And look, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, right? Because I know what y'all probably thinking. Y'all probably screaming at y'all phone right now, like y'all usually do. Oh, he's the typical Devin Haney. No, I'm a realist, okay? I keep it straight down the line, okay? I don't think he should be taking a year to rate on Ryan Garcia. Why wait on Ryan Garcia? Ryan Garcia out here at the comedy clubs. He out here going on safari quests. He out here singing and rapping to orangutangers and while they eating grapes and stuff. Like, why the hell are we waiting on Ryan Garcia? And this is me coming from like a true, real aspect. I genuinely rock with them. I genuinely want to know why. Why the hell are we waiting on Ryan Garcia? No, Dev. I want you back in the lab, man. I want you training. I believe you can get back to the top. But, bro, the hell are we waiting on Ryan Garcia for? Why? Like, why? Get Ryan. Ain't nobody worried about him and his Jerry curl. The hell? But I genuinely want Devin back in the ring. I feel like he has a lot to prove. All right. It's just I know he can do it. I just don't understand why. Why? So without further ado, I'm gonna pass it over to my bro Mario.
Reasons why he didn't take this fight with Sandor Martin first, because the bids were just too low. And obviously, Sandor Martin, I'm gonna be honest, besides Teofimo Lopez, ain't nobody interested in fighting Sandor Martin. Now, Sandor Martin, because he was a mandatory, he refused to step aside. A lot of people were saying another option was give him a boatload of money so we can step aside so we can make a different fight happen. But Sandor Martin didn't want to do that. So now we got Alberto Puello as our WBC champion. Look, I'm going to say this right now. I don't know what's going on with this 140-pound division. This 140-pound division is collapsing as we speak about it. I mean, let's be real, man. This is ridiculous. Now, there is speculation that Alberto Puello and Gary Russell are going to fight for that WBC belt. Gary Russell, now look, I'm going to say this right now. Gary Russell is on the come up. All right. That's definitely one of these up and comers that are coming up in the 140-pound division. So keep your eye out for Gary Russell, because I do think he's a good fighter. However, I'm going to be honest with you, bro. This is not what we wanted to see. You know what I'm saying? Now, the other reason to it was, like you mentioned, Devin wants to take a year off. Well, the only other option here, if he was going to take the year off, was to either vacate it or he was going to get stripped. So either way, he wasn't going to have the WBC belt. I do agree with you. I don't think he should be waiting on Ryan Garcia, because even after the year is done, what makes us think we're going to get this rematch? You know, I know Ryan's been talking about it and everything, but what makes us think we're going to get this rematch?
And then you allow your ops and competition to develop. No, bro, don't do that. You letting them get one head up on you. Pitbull gonna be out here knocking folks into the Safari Desert and whatnot. Sabril Matias gonna be back knocking dudes out in the pocket. Then you gonna have Leon Pyro boxing dudes all the way around the world and whatnot. Don't let the competition get one up on you. This is boxing. These dudes are going to be continuing to develop and develop and develop and develop and develop and develop. You can't take no time off in this division. Come on. You can't take no. Bro, Dev, you got to get back in the lab, bro. These dudes, Dev, get back in the lab, bro. I know you can do this, bro. Get back in the lab. And I need you back in that ring, stepping on these dudes. Foot by foot by foot by foot by foot. Do not let the competition get no heads up. No, sir.
And I'm gonna say this right now. I hate to say this, but Ryan Garcia is living rent free in his head right now. I mean, it's shown. You're gonna take a year off until you fight Ryan again. All I keep hearing from Devin Haney is Ryan this, Ryan that. Ryan is living rent free in this guy's head, and this needs to stop, okay? Because I understand taking a loss like that is heartbreaking. I know taking a loss like that is definitely, it doesn't sit right with anybody, but I'm going to be real with you. When Errol Spence lost to Terrence Crawford, we didn't see him obsessing like this over Terrence Crawford. I know these are different circumstances and everything, but you also got to take into effect that you can't keep on waiting for a guy and waiting for him to give you another shot at fighting him and redeeming yourself. You can't do that. Here's what I'm going to say. If he wanted to take 3 months off, 6 months off, and then announce a fight, perfectly cool with that. A year off is a lot, man. And on top of that, it doesn't mean he's going to be fighting again in a year. That means you're going to take a year off and then decide when you're going to fight. That's a year. That's over a year. Because let's suppose the training camp is 3 months. You're basically taking a year. You're basically almost taking a year and a half just to get back in that ring. I don't want to see that, man. Now, if I was Devin Haney in this situation, I would have told the WBC, you can piss off because this is the first time he was undisputed and he vacated all those belts. But I would have told the WBC to piss off, and I would have went after Pitbull. I would have went after Paro. I would have went after those guys right there to get another belt at 140 pounds. And I want to say this right now. I don't know what's going on in boxing, dude, but these mandatories suck. Like, I'm sorry. They are bad, dude. I don't understand what it takes to... Breezy, I could be a mandatory right now. Let's be real. Like, I could be a mandatory right now. If we're giving guys like Steve Claggett mandatories, we're giving guys like the guy Canelo's fighting. Let me explain something. The guy Canelo's about to fight for a mandatory, I forgot his name. That's how irrelevant this really is. If we're going to give guys like Sandor Martin a mandatory, now look, I'm not saying Sandor Martin's a bad fighter. I do think Sandor Martin is a decent fighter, but let's be real, bro. What are we doing here? I mean, I don't understand why we keep on doing this. So now what's going to happen is we got Puello as champion. Puello and Sandor Martin are going to fight for the WBC belt. Let that sink in. The most important belt in boxing, the biggest belt in boxing, the WBC belt, is going to be fought with Puello and Sandor Martin, and the winner gets Gary Antoine Russell. Let that sink in real quick, all right? We got two guys who can't even hang with the best in the 140-pound division. That's not dissing Sandor Martin or Puello, but it's just facts. And then they're gonna get and then the winner is gonna get Gary Russell, who's on the come up. I don't understand this, dude. Like, I'm sorry, but somebody needs to check these mandatories because I don't understand how they're getting away with this. Now, Devin Haney. Now, a lot of people are gonna say, well, Canelo can hold the belt and not give Benavidez a title shot for 3 years. I agree. He should give Benavidez a title shot. But the difference between Canelo Alvarez and Devin Haney, Canelo is a super champion. Canelo is the face of boxing. Canelo can do whatever he wants. It doesn't matter what we say as fans. Canelo can do whatever he wants. And nobody's going to do anything about it. The difference between Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez is a super champion. That gives him the access and the ability to fight whoever he wants. That's why we're getting him versus Steve Claggett. Devin Haney doesn't have that luxury. As WBC champ, he does not have that luxury. And I'm going to be honest, Devin Haney shouldn't be a super champion because I don't think beating Regis Progress gives you super champion status. I don't think that's what it does. But what I will say is this. If I was Devin Haney, yeah, vacate your WBC belt, but go after Pitbull Cruz. Vacate that belt, but go after Liam Paro. I have no problem with it. Vacate your belt and try to make a super fight with Tia. That's what I would have liked to see. But this is getting ridiculous with the mandatories. This is getting ridiculous with the whole Ryan Garcia obsession. This got to stop, bro.
Do not take no year off. Stay in the lab, stay focused, stay true to the game, work on the game plans, work on inside, outside, work on all that. Forget about Ryan Garcia and his doggone GTA 5 side quests. Nobody give two fat flat booties about his side quests and what he got going on. We need you back in the lab, gang. I'm just as an honest, we need you back in the lab, gang. If you want to take 6 months, cool. But a year, no. I'm sorry, no. T.O. gonna be fought by then, Pitbull, Paro. No, man. It's just no, man.
Let's now talk about the IBF Championship being vacated in the heavyweight division by Oleksandr Usyk. Why is this happening? I have no clue. But Oleksandr Usyk announced on Instagram Tuesday that he is vacating the IBF Heavyweight Title. Before I continue, well, first, I do want to say that the source for that last topic was Reuters. The source for this topic is Mike Coppinger of ESPN. Now, with that being said, the IBF title is now vacated. All right. I don't care what anybody says, though, because Oleksandr Usyk is still to me, in my mind, undisputed champion. Nobody can take that away from him. So I'm gonna leave it at that. But the IBF heavyweight title right now is vacated. It will go to the winner of Anthony Joshua versus Daniel Dubois on September 21st in Wembley Stadium. IBF President Daryl Peoples confirmed to ESPN that the heavyweight title was vacated, but he refuted reports that Dubois had been elevated to champion. Right now, Dubois is the interim IBF champ. Well, because of that, now whoever wins between him and Joshua is going to become the new heavyweight champion. I don't know why this happened. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why Usyk didn't just keep the belt. He did give a funny response, though. He told Dubois and Joshua, me vacating the IBF belt, consider it as a gift. He did. I mean, that's a funny response, man. That's a pretty clever response from Usyk. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying this, though. I don't know why they keep vacating these belts. You know, maybe it's because Usyk didn't want to fight a mandatory as well. But I mean, let's be real. In Usyk's case, if you're the first ever 4-belt undisputed heavyweight champion, and you're undefeated and you beat the #1 heavyweight champion in your division, I think that calls for a super champion status. Do you get what I'm saying? I don't understand why that wouldn't be a super champion status. Undisputed, beat the #1 heavyweight in your division, took his O, you're still undefeated. You're the first ever undisputed champion in the 4-belt era. You're probably the first ever undisputed heavyweight champion in a very, very long time. 2-time undisputed champion. Well, tell me what has Oleksandr Usyk not accomplished to become a super champion? I'm all ears because I don't understand how he didn't get that super champion status. But obviously, with that title being vacated, Anthony Joshua and Daniel Dubois have a chance to get their get back against Usyk because for y'all who forgot, he obviously beat Anthony Joshua twice, and Daniel Dubois almost beat Usyk with that body shot or nut shot, whatever you want to call it, but then got knocked out later on in that fight. So you know what, Breezy? I'm going to pass it on to you. Oleksandr Usyk, no longer IBF heavyweight champion. How do you feel about that?
What is wrong? Like, what? Is there something in the water that I don't know about? Is there something in the water that I don't like? Is y'all drinking something? Like, and I ain't even trying to sound like no hate. I ain't trying to sound like I'm bashing these fighters. I'm just saying, like, wow, you beat Tyson Fury. You remember Tyson Fury, the same Fury that has a dad that says, "No man born of a mother's coach will ever beat my son." You beat him. You beat the Ty Michelin man. You beat him. And now we vacate, bro. Bro, you know what? I'm gonna just say this. You do what's best. Y'all do what's best for y'all. I don't understand. You beat Tyson, the Gypsy King Fury, the Gypsy Burger King Fury. You beat him, Mister. I'm a fat man. You beat him. You beat him. You beat him. Why are you vacating? I mean, I get it. You accomplished it, but like, I'm lost in words. Okay, this don't make no sense. I ain't never seen this kind of math in my entire life at all. Like I've never seen it. I don't get it.
It does the article that Usyk's mandatory IBF title defense was overdue and ruled going into the fight that the winner of him and Fury was supposed to face the mandatory or be stripped of the belt. So Usyk vacated it so he wouldn't. So he vacated it because he didn't want to fight the mandatory. I got a simple solution for all this. Make the mandatory somebody worth fighting for. against. Great idea. What are we gonna do? We're gonna have Usyk fight Flip Hergovich, Big Baby Miller, Deontay Wilder. Have him fight somebody who is deserving of a title shot. That's all I gotta say. Joseph Parker's out here just waiting.
Comes to mandatories, I understand when they do mandatory, they put on a blindfold and stick their hand in a bucket, and it's a good possible chance they might call your damn granddaddy to go fight Usyk. And that's how they pulling mandatories out now. They just putting them blindfold. Oh, well, whatever I grab is what I grab. Hey, there you go, WBC. There you go again. You ruined it again. I hope you're happy, because guess what? Now we got to fight. Watch Canelo fight. What? 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 Exactly, man. If it's the mandatories, I understand. I get it. The mandatories out here, complete mess. If it's the mandatories, cool. Deb, if it's the mandatory, cool. I still think you can beat them. I think you can beat them. So I don't. Okay, maybe the money ain't in there. Maybe you feel like you want something more challenging. I understand from that perspective. But other than that, though, I don't know what's going on. I'm so confused. I'm gonna say what they used to say in the old force. I'm flabbergasted.
Even the word. The fact that this article won't even tell us who the mandatory IBF title defense was proves that it was a guy that doesn't deserve it. I mean, let's be real. Who does Usyk have to fight? Like who did you guys have lined up? That's my question. Who? I don't know. Did Alexander Povechkin come back and that's who he has to fight? Like I don't. Did Klitschko come back and that's who they decided? Did Mike Tyson become the mandatory? Please explain to me who Usyk had to fight. What stupid mandatory that you decided to put in front of him and say, here, you're going to fight this guy? No. Okay. Joseph Parker, that's a guy who deserves a mandatory. You could argue that Zheli Zhang deserves a mandatory. Philip Hergovich was before losing to Dubois, you can argue that even him could have deserved a mandatory. But who did you line up? Like, because I'm Derek Chisora, Big Baby Miller, Big Baby Anderson.
The Big Show.
The Big Show. Like, I don't, dude, like Fabio Wardley, who did you line up? Joe Joyce? I can't, dude, I don't understand this. This is how you're going to fix boxing. Let's stop making stupid mandatories. All right. Let's stop giving people title shots that don't deserve it. And let's start actually looking at the sport, looking at who's in the top 10 and being like, all right, who is the guy that's deserving of this title defense? Joseph Parker. Just saying. The guy beat Zhang. The guy beat Wilder. Let's give Joseph Parker another title shot. I'm just saying. And honestly, I would have liked that a lot more than AJ versus Dubois. However, AJ and Dubois, they got into a little altercation. They're really starting to kind of heat up this little fight that they got going on. It's going to be in Wembley. I do believe, regardless of who Anthony Joshua fights, it sells out. But him and Joseph Parker would have been a better fight. That's all I'm going to say. That's a different topic for a different time. However, this is ridiculous, bro. This is ridiculous. I'm just saying these boxing organizations, these boxing commissions, they got to do a better job of picking mandatories. They got to do a better job of making big fights happen. And it shouldn't happen. And let me say this right now. Turki Al-Sheikh, he's been doing a great job making these big fights happen, but I'm sorry, it shouldn't have to get to Turki Al-Sheikh for these big fights to happen. It shouldn't have to get to, oh, well, you got to fight the number 20th heavyweight in the world, or we're going to strip you of your belt. And then Turki Al-Sheikh comes and goes, we'll pay you $20 million to fight Daniel Dubois. We'll pay you $20 million to fight Anthony Joshua. It shouldn't get to that point. These commissions should be making these big mandatory fights happen. I'm going to be honest, Breezy. If they keep this up, they're going to ruin boxing. Because it's getting ridiculous. Who's getting stripped? Who's getting vacated? Who is becoming champion at recess? Who's interim champion? Who's the mandatory? All this is getting ridiculous, bro. And it needs to stop because it is ruining boxing. I can't keep talking about these vacated belts and these stripped championships. Breezy, do you have any other final thoughts to add before we wrap this whole thing up?
Pray for me.
Sounds about right. Pray for me too, because this is getting ridiculous, bro. pray for the sport of boxing. All right. Because if they keep this up, the UFC is going to surpass them in ways we can't even think of. At least they got one guy making the fights. And at least the guy who's fighting them, at least 80% of the time, that guy kind of deserves a shot.
Look, Dana White is somewhere right now rubbing his hands like Birdman behind the window. All right. So y'all want to step it up. Oh, Dana White over there, step it up.
Absolutely.
That's all I got to say.
100%. But with that being said, to break down this episode, Devin Haney is no longer WBC champion. Oleksandr Usyk is no longer IBF champion. One little detail that I forgot to mention, when Oleksandr Usyk fights Tyson Fury, I just want you guys to notice it will not be for Undisputed no more. WBO, WBC, WBA, no IBF. So there you go. Just to make that second fight even worse, no Undisputed. Let that sink in. With that being said, I say we log off this episode before Breezy starts yelling again, before I start yelling.
Please.
Too late. But with that being said, you know what won't change? You know who's gonna definitely deliver, unlike these commissions and organizations and federations and whatever you want to call them? The Puncher's Point. All right. We just gonna keep delivering with the boxing news, the boxing predictions, the post fights, anything related to boxing. Just know that the Puncher's Point got you. So with that being said, if you want great boxing content every other day, if you want great boxing content that is going to want you to tune in and to listen to what we got to say, you want hot takes, we got them. You want great boxing takes, we got them. You want non-biased boxing fans to react to the current news that is going on instead of hearing everybody talk about Tank Davis or Ryan Garcia, we got you. So with that being said, I'm going to say it one more time. Make sure y'all stay on point with the Puncher's Point.